Hey, what's up, y'all? So in this video I wanted to talk about the problems and solutions in Nigeria. I want to hit on some key areas that allows a nation to successfully do nation building. When I was in Nigeria, particularly Lagos and Ibadan, there was some fundamental flaws that I kept on seeing. I was consistent, and unfortunately the people that are on the ground over there, the inhabitants living there right now, they're just not aware of. They just see it as normal. So what I wanted to do was just bring awareness to these issues and how we can start fixing ourselves from within. So it's on, really us Nigerians in the diaspora to do assistance and bring in that intellect into Nigeria. So one of the things I wanted to really stress is even if you can't contribute in a monetary way, you can always create your content, create your videos so that the Nigerians over there can see it, they can pick it up, they can learn it, integrate it into their daily lifestyle, and here's when you start to see a shift. I do believe if you start to educate the Nigerians on a higher level, just general education, I'm not talking about trying to be a teacher or a doctor or engineer, I'm talking about just general knowledge, then these politicians that you see in office right now won't be there because the population is smarter. So they're not going to be able to make it. They're going to be kicked out. They're going to be ran out of office. So that's what I'm trying to do. I just wanted to really talk about these different areas that I noticed in other countries that were considered as very poor and are now prosperous. Just understand, okay, where did it start to change for them? What were they focusing on? Because a lot of these countries, they don't have the resources that we have in Nigeria. So they don't have the population, they don't have the excellence, the black excellence, the Nigerian excellence that we have. So how are they able to do so well? And we're just continuously struggling over and over and over, where we gotta, make that paradigm shift. We gotta switch it up. We gotta switch up our thinking, and we gotta start thinking in a way that is going to benefit us in the future. So just laying the groundwork, planting your seeds, watering it, taking care of it, and then the next generation can take that and go far with it. So hopefully you all enjoy the video and the slides, and I try to put some thought into it. So I guess stay tuned. So when it comes to the failures of Nigeria, there are a lot of failures, fundamental flaws, like I said earlier, that are just continuously going on and on and on. It's so frustrating. When I was there, just daily living that I was experiencing was ridiculous. Definitely need to have a higher standard of living for ourselves, because it seems like when we go abroad and we go to other countries, we expect the best, but when we come to Nigeria, it's the same thing. Oh yeah, this is Nigeria, this is how it is. Like, no, it don't have to be that way. If you keep saying that, you're speaking it into existence. It's kind of like saying you're kind of fine with how things are. It's never going to change. Or if you're going to have that mentality, then why even? I don't know. My personal opinion: why even call yourself a Nigerian? Like, what is there to be proud of if you feel Nigeria will never get better? It just, like, why rep it? Why even do the parties on October 1st representing your pride? And this is how you feel about Nigeria. Like, it's kind of like in a I don't know, kind of in a weird sense, you're doing cultural appropriation. Like you want to rep the culture, you want to have fun with it, but when it comes to actually digging deep into the problems and being part of the solution, you're nowhere to be found. So, so anyways, that's sure I'll make a video on that and the backlash I got from other Nigerians that, when I tell them what I'm trying to do. But for this video, I just want to focus on the business part. I want to focus on nation building. I want to focus on how we can get our shit together and really take it far. So starting with the first video. So you got different factors of production. So a country has to produce. It can't consume all the time. The countries that are always getting imports and not exporting anything, there is an unhealthy imbalance in the revenue. You also can't rely on solely one commodity. You can't rely on one area. Like it's you like when it comes to investing, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, because if something goes wrong, you lose all your eggs. No, you want to diversify, and you want to have just a little bit of eggs in basket number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to a million, whatever you want to do. But it's good. You got to be balanced all the way around. For Nigeria, I'm thinking that we need to start on the basic level of just bringing it, just developing the basic programs and daily operations of Nigeria. So what I mean is, instead of, and this is me personally, so if you got a conviction to do something else, then of course, whatever is there to help the country. But just focusing on highly technical areas off the gate just doesn't make sense to me, because if you don't have no system to maintain those highly technical positions, then how are you advancing? Eventually it's just gonna be corruption, and you're gonna have the same thing all over again. So just throwing money at a issue, saying, oh yeah, this is what everyone else does, so we can hop right onto that same level and it will produce the same result. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time, and it's very immature to think that way, and thinking that economies can just rise and overcome miraculously like in a night. No, it doesn't. It's a whole lot complicated than that. And just from when I was doing my research, I started to understand, oh, okay, it really starts with the mentality of the folks there. It really starts with their thought process, their critical thinking skills. Do they have the discipline to pretty much showcase delayed gratification? Are you all money now, or are you able to sacrifice now so you can live better in the future? You can live how no one else no one else can. Human capital. So what is human capital? So in a nutshell, you can say it's what's in the minds of the citizens. So you got education, training, and experience. You have education, training, and experience. First, talking about education, let's be clear that going to college and education is not necessarily the same thing. You got people that go to college all the time and they are dumb as a rock. I've seen them. I've dealt with them in all the years I was in undergrad. I seen what that looks like. When I visited University of Ibadan, the first university in Nigeria, I was very fascinated with the fact that these young minds, these young students, will bend over backward. They will spend their last dollar to go to a university. Don't have books, don't have teachers that are really equipped to teach at a high level like that. They hope that there's no protest to back up their graduation date. They have to deal with professors that will get jealous if they're driving cars on campus. Yes, I know a personal story of this happening to someone. And at the end of the day, when they do finally get that degree, there's no job prospects for them, or very little. They end up doing Uber. They end up being mechanics. They end up selling snacks on the road. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. Why, if you know this is going on, why do you continue to do the same thing expecting different results? Your classmates, the ones before you, are not working a job. So what this whole, I got to go to university so I can be smart, like it's played out. And understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that going to college is necessarily bad. I'm talking about in Nigeria is bad and a waste of time. What I'm saying is, it's going to college is supposed to be an investment. You have good investments and you have bad investments. If you're looking at the end game of going to this university and you don't see a job out, a prosperous, positive job outlook after you graduate, why are you still spending your money and spending your time going to it? One would think, well, if you do some critical thinking, maybe I should try a different way and educate myself where I don't have to spend all this money and I'm still able to be successful. So when it comes to that education, from what I've seen, they just go do the curriculum is based on the British system that was there in the 60s, the 40s. As you know, you can have your own opinion on that. And they just continue to do the same thing. The books are old. They have to buy their books. There's no library. The professors, sometimes they don't show up the whole semester. Nothing is being put into the university to grow it, and it's just the same old producing subpar students. Now, I don't mean to just be harsh to be harsh. Like, no, I'm saying this out of love and seeing where it's failing them, because you got too many young people that are graduating with degrees and they don't have anywhere to work. They're not even thinking about creating a business, a sustainable business. If they do it, it's on a low level where it's like they're always in a begging position. And it's like, yo, we could do so much more than this. Like, you have the possibility to do a lot more than what you're doing. So just forget the whole procedure. Oh, I need to go to a university so I can have a degree and I'm not looked at as a common person. Forget that. It doesn't make you look like you're actually in a worse position going to college, spending all that money, and still working besides those common people on the street. Like, how are you better? I would say you're even worse, because you knew people before you that didn't do too well after graduating, and you decide to follow the same path, and then you question why you're in the same position as them. So moving on, training is very important when it comes to creating a highly skilled workforce. What I've seen when I was there in Nigeria, and I'm just focused on the West, because the West is only the only side I've been to, and apparently I've been told that the West is where the education, they're more educated, or they're really big on universities and degrees and stuff like that. So when it comes to training, you need a highly skilled workforce in order to bring wealth, in order to bring success into a country. No one seems to, well, everything is all from my experience when I was there, and from the conversations I had with Nigerians that actually lived there, my contacts and my friends over there. Training is not consistent. Training is not developing. I didn't see, I'll give you an example. When it comes to auto mechanics, I didn't see any training program that was really trying to train students on how to fix cars. Mechanics over there that fix the cars, a lot of them are illiterate. A lot of them do not understand how a car works. I will say their ingenuity is amazing. I definitely give them that. Especially when it comes to like body parts of a car and stuff like that. It's really good. But when it comes to just the technical aspect, it's a lot of trial and error. So what you need training. You need training to bring that knowledge of, okay, we do it one time, in a few hours, the car's fixed, and you go about your way. You don't have any breakdown. So training is very important to have that skilled labor, which also brings value and valuable services and products to your nation. And the last is experience. Of course, you need experience, on the job training, on the job experience. It's not book smart. It's just situational awareness and just instincts. of how to deal with certain situations in life, because nothing in life is cookie cutter. Nothing in life follows the manual, the book. Like, life is unpredictable and is always changing, and having experience allows people to be better equipped to deal with situations that change up on them. Come down to physical capital, obviously tools, buildings, roads, electronics, cell phones, tractors, farm equipment. Need this stuff to propel a nation. You need this stuff to propel a country. Developing these areas allows for also more tourism. Allows for people to spend their money in the country, because now it's enticing. It's more welcoming. It's a lot easier to go about life. Transportation, all this stuff is important, and bringing in commerce, bringing in revenue, bringing in people that want to see what's going on in Nigeria. Obviously, buildings. You can't talk about you're doing great and you're still having issues with building collapses in 2018. Now it's 2019, but like that, you need safety. Safety needs to be priority on your list. Well, you have a issue with building collapses. It means someone isn't building they're not building correctly. They're not building in a safe manner. Why aren't they building in a safe manner? Well, there's no consistent degree of training, certification that's out there. So everyone does, this is what I learned when I was working here, and that's how they keep it. They just go off of that. There's no building up on your skills. There's no research. There's just no development. This is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have a lot of building collapses. They don't test material. Once again, this goes into the training, education that I talked about earlier in human capital. When this stuff is lacking, then it's just gonna stop you from reaching your full potential. So you got the buildings, the roads. Roads are very important, not only to transport just regular citizens going to work, going to just their daily living, going to the store, grocery store, malls, concerts, whatever, going home, visiting friends and family. You also have companies that need to transport their products in an efficient way. If your roads are always jacked up and messed up, then that's going to inhibit how much you can grow your business. We need efficient transportation systems. So I don't know what's going on with the railroad system. It seems like, people put money in, nothing gets done. But at least with the roads, you need that to be sufficient enough to bring goods from the source to the consumer. Electronics, computers, everyone has cell phones. It's producing these products in your country is a great source of income. It's a great source of revenue generation. So obviously that's needed. Tractors, farm equipment, all these food shortages, not producing your quotas, not being consistent year after year. Our weather, for the most part, seems to be the same. You got your rainy season. You don't have to worry about the cold. You don't have to worry about winter, how it is, at least in the United States. Maryland it's actually snowing right now. It's a snowstorm, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. So you can, for the most part, grow year round. You need equipment to produce more product. You can't do everything by hand. You can't, working with old tractors, old farm equipment, old technology, it breaks down a lot. So now you gotta invest in fixing this equipment and having someone that has the knowledge to fix it when it's needed. Once again, it's going back to education and training. You need this stuff to be set so that when life happens, you're already prepared. You already know what to do. So technological knowledge on how the world works. So example, genetics and agriculture, soil composition, chemistry. This information is also what forms the books that farmers read. We gotta get to, let's see, how can I say this? It should be understood that just relying on other people to create products for you does not put you in a powerful position. You're like, if you want to see it this way, you're like the child that's always requesting their parents to buy them stuff or to provide. How is that empowering? That's not empowering. Like, you can do this yourself. I made that video on the history that I learned so far about Nigeria because I found it very fascinating. These ancient Nigerian empires were so detailed in the way that they did their arts and crafts, the way they built their cities, their government, how it was set up. This was all before Europeans. They were governing themselves very well. They had their spats of competing against land and, you know, just trying to conquer and grow their empire. But they were very strategic, and it was very detail oriented in how they did stuff. These are our ancestors. So why is it there's like a mentality that I noticed when I was in Nigeria and when I'm in the States here? I don't know how it is in the UK. I've never been to the UK. But why is there a mentality that we can't recreate what our ancestors did in the past? Now, I don't mean the same thing, but I'm just talking about as far as creating and developing our own systems. We did it before. We still have some of the artifacts that archaeologists dug up. We still have a lot of the way things were passed down by our great grandparents. They, you know, orally they talk about the history. I don't know. I get tired of hearing about, at least in the States, Nigerians are the most agreed. Oh, we're doing well. We thriving, but it seems like it's not a thought to create your own stuff. It doesn't pass our minds to build businesses with the information we gain from these degrees and these jobs that we worked at. Why aren't we creating our own stuff? Why is it that we always got to work for it? We got to be an employee to be successful. Like, to me, that's not a power move. It has to be. We got to be doing something more. Like, you can't liberate yourself just by working jobs for other communities that don't really care about you. They are looking out after their own interest, and reasonably so. I can't get mad at it, because when it comes to Nigeria, yeah, I feel we should be looking out for Nigeria first. This ain't a mixing pot. Nah, this is to bring us to that era of when we govern ourselves with bright minds that were creating empires that people were afraid of. People were, respectful of. We can get to that point. So that technological knowledge, knowing how stuff works, how to innovate, develop. Country needs that to advance. Come down to organization. So human capital, physical capital, technological knowledge needs to be organized in a way that produces valuable goods and services. So get your entrepreneurs to do this. Us, us that are listening to different ways to really invest in Nigeria. Everything needs to be organized in a way that is it can be replicated in other areas in Nigeria. I mean, it's really systems and processes that you need to focus on. When I was in particularly Ibadan, everyone knows about the traffic in Lagos is bad. Ibadan, it was interesting how you'll have some traffic jams and there will still be traffic lights there at the intersection, and you got people, the policemen that were directing traffic, And I was asking my contact. I was asking her. I was like, wait a minute, like they have the traffic light there. Why are they still directing traffic? And it's because, well, from what she told me, either the lights don't always stay on, or a lot of people don't seem to abide by it. You know, sometimes they just do their own thing. But regardless, I mean, it's causing traffic jams, so you're messing up the efficiency of travel for people. So a good example of companies that have good systems and processes is McDonald's, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, KFC, Walmart, and the behemoth Amazon. What they all have in common, they have a method of doing their business. It's able to be replicated. Specifically McDonald's, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola, the KFCs. How are they able to reproduce that same restaurant in so many different places? They have something written down where it's so easy for the basic individual to follow. And that's how they do it. They create that basic system. All you gotta do is, as long as you can read, you can figure it out. The hand movements, they track all that. How many hand movements does it take to make, let's just say, a burger for McDonald's? They track all that stuff so that they're thinking about efficiency all the time. And then we, the consumers, go and consume it, not thinking twice. We just see it as, okay, you're supposed to have this burger the same way as you did in Lagos or Edo or whatever. You know it's going to be the same type burger, or if it's KFC. KFC seems to be really popping up over there. The chicken's going to taste the same. The seasoning's going to taste the same. Well, how does it do that? Is the systems and processes. Well, you apply that same concept to human capital, physical capital, like everything. Just create a system that is consistent, and if it needs to be amended, it's able to be amended. You don't have to stick at the same thing for forever. At the stage where Nigerians at now, where you start at now, you can't do the same stuff when you get higher. When we do better, then of course we gotta switch some stuff up, because now we're more efficient. We don't have to start at the bottom. We can start at level 10 now, or we're at level 10. So we alter our processes so that we are able to achieve even more quality product and services. So next we have incentives. So the incentive to invest and work hard needs to be high amongst the population. People need to be compensated well for their efforts. Like, you don't want to have a situation where effort is divorced from payment. Ain't no one gonna work 10 hours to be paid for 2, despite what you do. That's kind of like that I guess socialism, communism. How, they want everyone to be, I guess it's communism, where they want everyone to be the same, equal, and they want to divvy everything up. And so then it comes to, okay, if everyone is on the farm pulling up potatoes or whatever, is hard laborers work, what's the point in me trying to get 10 baskets of potatoes, and someone else is only getting 1 basket of potatoes, and then at the end of the day we get paid the same? It's like, what's the incentive for me to work hard? Like, for what? Like, I'm not, the harder I work, I should be compensated likewise. So in this situation, if Nigerians are doing the same job, and you're trying to get more productivity out of them, you need to incentivize them. Because why would they work hard for you? You get the benefits, and they just get the same pay. Like, what? Like, they're not gonna stay long, or they're not gonna be those employees that really value working that job. They're gonna look for something else. I mean, that's really anywhere. Like, if you're in a job and you're doing twice as much work and you're getting the same pay, well, you're gonna start thinking about your options of, where can I go where I'm more appreciated. So it's very, very basic stuff. property rights. So, property rights allow you to protect your investment in court. Random people can't take your land, bribe to keep your own land, or government agencies taking land without cause or even compensation. It protects against retaliation. One example that I saw when I was in Ibadan was a radio station that apparently they seem to talk about their disapproval of the governor, the government in that state. So this is Oyo State. So they were just comments that weren't favorable, and the government had cocked up, just from looking at the reports and from what my contact was telling me. They made some type of technicality where they had a stairway inside in the building that wasn't supposed to be there in the drawings, and it was like, okay, we need to tear. We're gonna dismantle your whole building, just tear it down. So they was going back and forth in court. I forgot the guy's name, but he is I think he's a rapper or he's a musical artist, and they was trying to go back and forth in court. And it was like, look, these are the paperwork from when the building was made. Look at the drawings. Like, I did everything by the book. Like, what are you talking about? And you had representatives from the government that were just so keen. Oh, we gotta shut it down. Gotta shut it down. You can't do this to your citizens in the country and expect people to support you. Like I don't like. What is your end game? Like, no one trusts you, especially for outside investors. If they're coming to invest in your country because that's what you say you want, how are you going to gain their trust when this is how you treat your own people? So, the pictures that you see where they took the crane or whatever, busted the front of it. I don't know why they didn't finish, but they left it at that. And then you can kind of see the other picture of how it was before everything happened. And, people just taking pictures, and the news media was there, and stuff like that. Like, but I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, get out your feelings. If someone doesn't like you, that's their right not to like you. If they're not hurting anyone, then what's your problem? Like, you acting like a child is really ridiculous that this went on. And now who can you fight? I mean, I'm not sure how the whole court process works in Nigeria, but I mean, do you take it up with the federal government? How efficient are they in that? I mean, this is the state government that is responsible for this, and your state government is supposed to be protecting the interests of the citizens. Well, if they can't challenge what you're doing, then it just creates an atmosphere of despair and hopelessness. Why would you want that in your citizens, the people that consider themselves, oh yeah, I'm Oyo government, I'm Ibadan or whatever? Why would you want that in their minds that, oh yeah, they're just crooks, they do whatever they want to do? Because let's just be clear, government is made up of people. It's not your own separate entity. No, you're supposed to be representing the interests of your group. And if you're destroying what they built, how in the same breath you say, oh yeah, we need to do more improvement, we need to really go forward and things of that nature. Now, maybe there's some facts that I don't know about, but I mean, from what I was hearing, it was just a ploy just to make this person silent. And you see that a lot in a couple of African nations, where if the powers that be don't like the I guess the criticism of certain radio stations, media, people, and they go in and shut them up. I'm like, how that doesn't benefit you? Like, if you're trying to prosper, you got to listen to different critiques. You got to listen to different opinions. If people are not satisfied, you don't shut them up. You listen to them, because that's why you're in the position of that you're in. But continuing on, political stability, of course, You need a stable government. Really important when it comes to prices. It gives investors confidence to invest due to a lack of threats from anarchy or civil war. If you got, this is one of the situations I hear that happens in Nigeria a lot, especially in the different states, is you'll have a good governor that will set amazing programs, and they'll set that state or that area on a good trajectory towards success. Then you'll have an opposing agency, or after elections, you have an opposing party come and dismantle everything, and it's like, okay, well, I don't like this. We're gonna do it my way. There goes that selfish thinking, and it's like you completely just threw out all the stuff that was working because it didn't come from you, and now you're starting at the bottom again, and you're not suffering. It's the people that suffer. So it's just like, wait a minute. Like, what's your agenda? Why are you even here? If you're not going to help us out, if you're just in it for yourself and you just want to be prideful and you want to slap your name on everything as if you created everything, I mean, we're all supposed to be working together. We're all in the same boat. We're all failing all together, except for you, because you got your money and wealth. But I don't know, if I was a state governor and I was to come over there. Now, once again, I don't know behind the scenes, the paperwork and how screwed up everything is, but if I was a governor, I would want to have pride in my state in being the best. Like, so far out of the current Nigerian standard, I will pretty much run my campaign on, nah, this is gonna be the new Nigerian standard. We're not doing those backward methods that everyone else is doing that causes them, they're not growing in the way that they should. No, we're gonna set up our own standards. We're gonna have our own certifications. We're gonna make our own certification boards, and this is where we're starting at. Just thinking how my ancestors were and how they were detailed and how they ran their cities and in their empires. Yeah, take that same determination and put it in what I'm trying to do for my state, so that I have citizens that are all prospering and doing well, and now they have more of an incentive to stay in my state and contribute. They can pay taxes now because there's a standard of living. So now I don't have to worry about the federal government giving me reserves. Like, yeah, I'll take the reserves or whatever. But I don't have to depend on it because my state is profitable. My state is being educated. And I feel once people start to see that, other Nigerian states start to see that, they're gonna be like, well, what did you do? Let me start copying what you did. Because you don't have citizens freaking complaining and causing issues because they ain't happy because they don't got no food. Like, that's the last thing I want. I don't want to hear complaints. I want everyone to be happy. Like, I want everyone to be making their money and getting in where they fit in. I do not want to have mobs of people saying, "Oh, we don't have no food." Man, that's a bad reflection on me. And I can't have, my conscience can't have that. Seeing whole families freaking selling chin on the road. I'm talking about babies like 2-year-olds. I mean, it's ridiculous. But moving on. A dependable legal system. Very important. Once again, when you look at all of the different countries that for the most part are doing well, people in high positions are held accountable for their actions. Common citizens, they are held accountable for their actions. There is some type of what do I call it? There is some type of consequence when they break the laws, when they do someone wrong. So you need to have that in a society. Like, you can't just be running amok and everyone just doing whatever they want to do. It's like, damn, there's no consistency. So you need to have a dependable legal system, and not just based on really money driving it. So the U.S., you need, once you get in a legal system, I mean, it's such a headache. It's from, I never been in it, but it's you gotta have money. It's pretty much a money game. It's a game. It's not about rehabilitating folks. No, it's to provide revenue for states, especially if it's private prisons. What's the other one? The halfway houses, bail, probation, all this. They all charge fees to former convicts that are struggling to find employment. Like, they still charging them, and it's just like, wait a minute. If you say they can't work certain jobs, they can't live around certain people, and then at the same time you're charging them fees. Like, how do you expect them to be successful? No, what's going to happen is you're gonna end up committing the same crimes or crimes again to make ends meet, and then they'll be right back in the system where the state gets more money for every head that is in their prison. That's how it works. It's just a big old well-oiled machine. To be doing it for years, especially the black people. It's I ain't trying to bring that to Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians don't have money to pay the fines. From what I hear, if there's like a car accident or whatever, like, there's no insurance, so they're just like, oh man, they don't have any money to pay, and then just go about that sucks. Like, that's not a nice. It's not fun to live. So, you gotta. I feel like focusing on rehabilitation is key. If you're gonna bring them to the jail, teach them some skills. Teach them how to be productive, so they start thinking twice. Have it so that the jail, whatever, is creating, in an ethical way, cheaper labor for the state itself. So yeah, you did this wrong, you're going to be penalized, you're not going to have all your freedoms like that, but we're going to make sure both parties are benefiting. Depending on the nature of your crime, you're going to be doing some work for the state, and at the same time you're getting the skills, so when you do get out, we're not going to see you again. We don't want to keep you in the same position and continue to, like, that doesn't benefit us at all. Like, it doesn't benefit us to have more people in jail. Like, no, they need to be out producing. That's what we need. Specifically this picture, I put this here because, and I've seen this in a couple countries where Africans will wear these blonde colonial wigs, and the first time I saw it, I was just like, I didn't even laugh. I was just shaking my head. I'm like, what the hell is? Let me not say that. It is a tragedy that all these people that you see here do not see it odd. Assuming they don't see it odd to have a white man's wig on your head. Like, you look like a fool. And if I gotta take the blowback from that, then that's cool. But I'm just saying, like, you look like a fool with that stupid thing on your head. Have some pride in yourself. These are the same people that colonized your ancestors, and you're trying to imitate them. Like, it runs deep. We got to start breaking these mental shackles. For the Nigerians over there, they still think that British is better, and they are the catalyst of society, that we need to follow their standard. When I see a lot of these news channels, it seems like they try to behave in a way that is, well, they grew up in Britain or England, so I don't know, it's like they're whitewashed to me. and it's just it's a shame. Like, there's nothing. Our culture is rich in history. We were governing ourselves before they came, and just all of the West took what we, not just in Nigeria but in Africa, were doing, and they replicated it with a sinister way. They want to come take the resources, see what we was having. Like, even to this day, they're still doing stuff behind the scenes. We better than this. Let's not. I'll say this: if I was a governor, man, I will ban all these wigs. I mean, you moving on. All right, so you need competitive open markets. You need good, healthy competition. You also need good regulators that stop monopolies from happening. One example of this happening in U.S. history was a man known as John D. Rockefeller. He was, one of the richest men in America at the time. I think like the 1900s, or I can't remember the exact dates. But his business was oil. So he became so big with his oil company that he pretty much was the market. He had ownership of everything, and no one can compete. No one can have their own successful small businesses. Like, it was just no competition. So he can pretty much do whatever you want to do. You don't want that, because it doesn't allow for creativity to enter the market. It doesn't allow for new ideas. It doesn't allow for the lower people to feed their own families and become prosperous, just like you did, because you was paying them like garbage money. It was dangerous, and there was no other place to work because he had all the business. So what the government did was made him break up his company into smaller ones, and he had I think you got ExxonMobil out of it, and some other oil companies that you have today. They the government broke them up, and he had to give away like a lot of his wealth. They took him to court, and once again, Dependable court system. So the little guys took him to court like, yo, this is a monopoly. We can't compete. We can't take care of our own families. There's only one person that we can get oil from for the most part. Like, this ain't working out for us. In Nigeria, from what I started learning a little bit, and just from seeing Aliko Dangote seems to be operating a monopoly on cement. He has the whole market cornered. If any other smaller companies try to do like cement, they're quickly bought out, and it's just an unfair advantage. Now I've been hearing that he's trying to get into like tomatoes and like agriculture and stuff like that, and you got a couple of the smaller farmers or the smaller businesses that are just like, he got all the money, he's gonna buy all that up too, and it's just him. Like, you don't want to get to the point where you're just in control of the whole market, because you got so many brilliant ideas. This is how you continue to develop. You don't know it all, and it's foolish for you to think that you can just do whatever you want to do. It's not right. So, from talking about the factors of production, I talk about the different areas that can be improved on, and just what makes certain countries thrive. I want to talk about also what makes countries unique and grow, specifically Nigeria. For one, it's blessings. Any bless, luck. If you want to go with luck, you you got to have a generation of political candidates that have integrity and are selfless. Just recycling the same people, old people in that political atmosphere. Everyone, both there and abroad, see it as, they're not doing anything to help. They're recycling same ideas. They're not bringing in new people to talk with them. And that's my thing. Like, man, if this is the downfall of that Nigerian pride. especially with the men. If you don't know, it's okay. You're not gonna know everything. Just bring in people that know their stuff better than you. I mean, that's what it is when you create a team. You're not gonna know everything, so you bring people that are experts in a certain area, and then you're pretty much like the glue that gets everyone talking amongst themselves. And of course, you can have the final say, but you at least bring in those minds to talk with the people. Don't act like you can do it all yourself. You need a good team. You need ideas. You need vision. Having ideas to be the world's greatest country pushes that tycoon boss mentality. Innovation, particularly for the citizens, is key. You don't want to be like, and this is just once again my experience when I was in Nigeria. Just from talking to people, they're so fixated on being like Europe and being like the U.S. Oh, we want to be rich like the U.S. Oh, we want to go to the U.S. and stuff like that. Oh, you got your riches here. You gotta get rid of this whole westernized way of thinking, what the British put in your minds, into your parents' minds. You gotta get rid of it. It ain't working. It's not good for it's not good for your own self pride, like your own worth. Like subconsciously you're saying they're better than me, so the best I can do is try to attain their stature. You don't want to think like that. That makes you're saying you're second class and you're comfortable with it, and you're acknowledging it. When you're always giving praise to British and why can't Nigeria be like that? Now this is why you can go look up the video that I made. You got to understand the history, and you got to understand how things went down. Nigeria, it wasn't called Nigeria, by the way, but the different, just for simplicity, just bear with me. Nigeria was self-governing before the British and the Portuguese came on that land. They had their own governmental system. They had their own way of doing things. They had their own justice system. The citizens, they were trading. There was excellent traders. That's how the Portuguese and the British really start getting involved. They was coming in because they saw the way they was trading. The Niger River allowed for better trade routes. Everything was working independent of the Brits. Then the Brits saw the value and came in. And that's when they start, the rest is history. But this is when you start, seeing, okay, they put their buildings there, get that damn Queen Elizabeth that everyone wants to talk about, the second, whatever. Her, herself coming and everyone. I saw the old videos, the Nigerians bowing to her, and I mean, like, come on, man, like you better than this culture. Like we were doing great things before they came. We just weren't as wicked minded as them. We didn't see of creating the highest, best caliber guns to go conquer other nations. It was really about self-governing and taking care of our people and that family mindset. So we was doing fine. They came in, put their own agenda. They don't operate on tribes the way we do, so you can't do what they do. We are based on different tribes. We weren't Nigeria. It's like over 300 different sects. Different organizations, or not organizations, but different dialects, different tribes. Like we were all different people. And then they came and they lumped us all together and called us Nigeria. And they said, okay, we're gonna implement our system, and you're gonna agree to it. You're gonna do it that way. I mean, it can't happen. This is why you always have the fighting between Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, Yoruba. Like when they get into the presidency, they want to take care of their own. It's because that's what their family history is. That's what their culture is. We weren't Nigeria. We're not Nigerians. I'm saying that just for simplicity of the video, but when you really think about it, this was all created. This wasn't created by our ancestors. So, this. It starts with one person just bringing this to light, and just getting that ball rolling. So yeah, we need good ideas. We need vision. We need to listen to the young people. We need to listen to the people that weren't formally educated but have good instincts and good experience just being out, in daily living. Geography, of course, we have the resources that was blessed to us. We just need to learn how to utilize it effectively and sustainably. Green energy, enough with we put so much focus on the oil. Of course, it made Nigeria like really wealthy, but you gotta start looking at the future. That's the now. You gotta start looking 10 years in the future, 20 years in the future, 30, 50. You gotta have long-term plans. This is how other countries, especially China, I think they like developed China and Japan. I heard about they developed like 100-year plan on where they want their country to go. It's because they're like, where are they at now? They was already planning like 50 years ago. It didn't just start all of a sudden. That's what Nigeria needs to have. You need to have a plan of where do you want to be when you're gone, and your children take over. We got to get, also got to stop thinking selfishly. We might not see all the benefits that happen, but it's our job to set up the groundwork so that our children don't have to go through, the same BS that we're going through. Just once again, just integrating into another society does not gain you power. It's really like borrowed power. You're not in control of anything. You're not in control of the resources. So, let's focus on our geography. Let's focus on, our making our country clean, getting rid of a lot of the health issues that we have from just pollution, and taking care of what was, blessed to us, what was given to us, what we have. Of course, we got a rich culture. I did a video once again on the history of Nigeria, what I learned so far, but there's vastly more information than I had in that video. Very, very interesting. This stuff that wasn't taught to me. Share the stuff that wasn't taught to you. It really makes you think, and I don't know, it just gets you really wondering, like, why does it seem impossible to recreate where we were? I mean, it seemed to go downhill when the foreigners start coming in. So, get back to where it was before and build on that. We have our own values. We work as a community. We work as a system. Even though we had different tribes among us, we still did trade amongst the different empires. One area has more resources of a certain item than the other. You trade. So we need to get to that. Teaching this culture to our children abroad and in the country. It shouldn't just be about the British learning English. Like, it was kind of I don't know, it shocked me that not a lot of people know how to write in Yoruba. Even when it comes to speaking it, like, it's hard to learn it because it's always changing. It's like a social type thing. Like, no one really teaches the language, the letters, and that's unfortunate, because I really want to learn. I know a couple of people that want to learn Yoruba, Igbo, and I just wish that the government system would, let's just say, if it's in the West, the main language is going to be Yoruba, and then a secondary language is English. So, and have a structure of teaching the children both. And then they grow up with that sense of pride, like, yeah, I can speak the English if you need me to, if I'm trying to talk with, outside people, but my language, my history, my culture is more important. It's more valuable than what you say your culture is. Like, nah, I like who we are. I'm not embarrassed about who we are. I don't want to be like you. I can take some tips and you know, some of the stuff that seems to be working well, but it doesn't mean I want to conform to who you are. Because if we put the book side by side and you start looking at their history, I don't think you want to be like them. I know you don't want to be like them. So that's it. Wasn't trying to make this video too long, but when it comes to business in Nigeria, I get passionate about it. It's just the frustration, the mental slavery that a lot of us have. I was there, so I'm putting myself in this boat as well. I didn't understand the history of Nigeria. I didn't understand why it was the way it was. I was like everyone else, thinking from a European mindset or a Western mindset of, oh yeah, why are these people fighting? Oh, we're all Nigeria. It's just like, you know, I had to teach myself because no one else was telling me. Even my, you know, fortunately my parents didn't really bring that history part to it. But when I know better, I do better. And now we got the internet. We can educate ourselves. We don't have to wait for other people to tell us. And you know, let's not just make this all talk. Like I'm dead serious. Like, if you know, even before I started this YouTube channel, I was already trying to make moves and making my trips over to Nigeria so I can get a feel for the atmosphere, what I need to do. You know, that's just me. Like everyone else can do the same thing in their own way. Something that can benefit all of us. So that, you know, it'd be great to create a situation where us in the diaspora have the opportunity, a system set up where we can go back home, live comfortably, and we can contribute to our own society and then make ourselves competitive globally. Like we are that country in Africa that everyone, you know, looks up to in a positive way, that we're the ones giving out loans. Instead of China, people come to us and we give them, you know, favorable loans that are, you know, fair. But I feel like we should be in that position where it's like, you know, you don't have to go outside fame. Like, we got you. Like, you know, we'll work out something. We'll make sure that everyone is benefiting, but don't go to China no more. China ain't thinking about you. They ain't thinking about the betterment of your people. They're looking out for themselves, and that's how they are. It is what it is. We're gonna be here. We're gonna step in and we're gonna take that role. Like, yo, we gonna do it. We're gonna do it big. We're gonna do it for all of y'all. We'll put out the loans. We'll send some people to train some of y'all so we can share that knowledge and get this thing, you know, get this ball rolling. We have a young population. There's no reason why we can't do it. We seem to add value to every other country except when it comes to home. So let's just switch that dynamic, and you know, let's bring that education, that intellect, and the African excellence, that Nigerian excellence.